What do you want? Vengeance.
This movie to me, not just another revenge thriller, not just another conspiracy chase, something closer to Die Hard on a cargo ship with human trafficking, international corruption, and a lead character who looks like he would rather drown than lose. That is a very good lane for Statham. And honestly, it may be exactly why Mutiny feels sharper than a lot of the interchangeable action products surrounding it. Jason Statham has spent the last several years doing what major action stars do once they become their own subgenre. Fast X Meg 2 Expendables, The Beekeeper. Different setups, different levels of quality. Same essential promise. He will hit people, survive absurd situations, and glare at evil like it personally offended him. There is nothing wrong with that. It works because he works. But the danger with a star like Statham is repetition. If every movie only sells Jason Statham is back, eventually the movies start blending together. Mutiny at least looks like it knows that trailer gives Statham a frame that feels more contained, more pressure-cooked, and more survival-oriented than some of his recent projects. Cole Reed is not just charging toward revenge in a wide-open world. He is being framed for murder, hunted, shoved into a floating nightmare, and forced to fight through tight spaces, armed attackers, and a broader conspiracy that appears bigger than he first realizes. That is useful because Statham is often at his best when the movie gives him a physical problem before it gives him a mythic one. A ship, a timer, a trap, limited exits, people to save, men to kill. Nice and simple until it gets complicated. That is the right structure. And Jean-François Richet is a sensible director for exactly that reason. Richet is not really a stylist in the glamorous action sense. He is more of a pressure director. Plane worked because it knew how to turn straightforward rescue mechanics into a controlled spiral of panic and retaliation. Assault on Precinct 13 had that same interest in lockdown, danger, and tactical movement. Mutiny seems to be pulling from that playbook too. This does not look like a movie trying to reinvent action cinema. It looks like a movie trying to build a hard, clean delivery system for Statham's specific brand of punishment. That is smarter than overcomplicating things. The premise itself is already sturdy. Cole Reed, a former Special Forces operative and ex-cop now working private security, is blamed for the murder of his wealthy boss and friend. That sends him into an international conspiracy involving trafficked civilians, hostile mercenaries, and the kind of institutional rot that only exists in action movies to justify a one-man war. Fine, great. The trick is not whether that premise is original. It is whether the film can stage it with enough urgency that it feels alive instead of assembled. The trailer suggests that what I like most is that the opening immediately gives Cole something morally clear to fight for. He is not just on the run for himself. He is trying to get women and children out of a container on a ship. That matters. Statham's screen persona becomes much more effective when the movie gives him a clean protective mission underneath the revenge plot. I want vengeance is good trailer fuel. I want those people saved first is what keeps the character from becoming just another blunt force anti-hero. It gives the violence shape, and shape matters a lot in action, especially now when so many thrillers confuse movement for momentum. Mutiny seems aware that the ship setting is its biggest weapon. A vessel at sea is automatically useful in this genre because it strips away escape routes. It creates vertical action, claustrophobic action, industrial action, metal corridors, engine rooms, cargo holds, exterior climbs, choke points, guns where you do not want them, and knives where you need them. The trailer leans hard into that, and that is a good sign. The movie looks like it understands its environment is not just backdrop. It is the engine. Annabelle Wallis also feels like a smart addition. Not because the trailer tells us everything about her role, but because she plays the kind of cool-headed intensity that can either stabilize a conspiracy thriller or sharpen it. The brief exchange between her and Cole is useful because it makes clear he is not there to charm, posture, or explain himself. He is there to move, to rescue, to break through whatever this system is. If Wallis ends up functioning as the closest thing the movie has to an ally or counterweight, That should help the film avoid becoming a one-note Statham corridor stomp, and the supporting cast around them makes sense too. Jason Wong, Roland Meller, Arnas Fedorovicius, and Adrian Lester are the kind of names action thrillers benefit from because they bring texture and threat without requiring the movie to pause and anew. Them. Roland Meller in particular has the right face for cold-blooded opposition. He looks like someone who belongs in a movie where the air smells like diesel, rust, and betrayal. What I also find telling is that Statham is producing here alongside Mark Butin through Punch Palace Productions. That usually means something very specific with a star like him. The film is being calibrated to his strengths rather than simply renting them. That does not guarantee quality, but it does increase the odds that the final product knows what people are actually showing up for. Nobody is buying a ticket to Mutiny because they want a meditation on late capitalist maritime corruption. They are buying a ticket because they want to watch Jason Statham crawl through hell and make the people who put him there regret learning his name. And in that respect, the trailer absolutely delivers. No, do I think Mutiny is suddenly going to become some elevated action masterpiece? No, and it does not need to. It just needs to avoid the dead zone of modern action where everything feels overcut, overfamiliar, and emotionally empty. The trailer's biggest strength is that it does not look empty. Familiar, yes, but not empty. The mission is clear. The environment is useful. The threat feels layered enough. The action looks physical enough. And Statham still knows how to make a single-word line like revenge sound like a practical next step instead of a joke that goes a long way. So where do I land on Mutiny after this first trailer? I think it looks like one of the better possible versions of a Jason Statham action thriller in 2026, not because it appears wildly original, but because it seems to understand the exact pressure points that make him compelling: contained danger, moral clarity, escalating retaliation, and a setting that turns every corridor into a problem. If the movie holds onto that, then Mutiny may not need to be surprising to work. It just needs to be ruthless. And from this trailer, it looks very ready to be. That is enough to get my attention. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. This is where these kinds of films come to life. Until the next story, stay curious, be critical, keep your eyes on the screen, and remember, every film you haven't seen is a new film.